So let's get to it. Ryan Garcia. He's the man on everybody's lips at the moment. He delivered the first loss of Devin Haney's career at the weekend, Spencer. And he did it in style, it's fair to say. What was your take on it?
I thought it was a genius move by Ryan Garcia, the antics of the build-up, where everyone thought that he'd lost the plot, and then he comes in 3.5 pounds overweight. So, Devin Haney thinks, well, not only has he lost the plot, but he's not trained either. He's out of shape. I'll take the money. I'll take the 1.5 million bonus that I get for him coming over, £500,000 for every weight, every pound he was overweight. Yeah. So I think it was just a genius move. I mean, Simon called it before we was talking about. I said, look, I've got serious concerns about this kid. I think that his mental health is in a bad way. You've seen all the stuff that he's been putting on social media. He's missed the weight. I think he's going to get schooled in there by Devin Haney, who was, considered pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. But boy, he went out there and he done a job. He done what he was meant to do, and it was it was a fantastic performance.
Yeah, I mean, post-fight, Simon, it was also a bit strange when Garcia's dad Henry seemed to walk along the corridor and engage with one Eddie Hearn. Have a listen to this.
Big respect to Ryan Garcia. He was amazing. I thought, well done, well done. Oh really? You.
My son, you piece of shit. What are you talking about? You know you're a piece of shit. And that's what you get. Really? Now what are you going to say? I'm going to say Luke Campbell and Devin Haney, you. Now who you got? Who do you got?
Jaron Ennis.
Who?
Jaron Ennis.
How about Pitbull?
You know he's good. Jaron Ennis is good.
They're all good.
Respect. It was a good performance.
Sorry.
I know you're emotional.
Man, sorry.
Listen, it's a sport. When you win,
I know,
I'll give you all the respect in the world.
Okay, give Ryan the respect.
I just told him.
You did?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
This is how we work.
Sorry.
Don't worry. I respect you. I accept your apology.
Thank you.
No problem.
Simon, only in boxing, I think, does this kind of thing go on. I mean, Garcia's father's screaming at Hearn, you piece of sh-! So you get a rough idea of what he's calling him. And then moments later, the hands outstretched and they're shaking each other's hands.
Yeah, I mean, and the other father of Devin Haney was also equally as unpleasant at times, suggesting that that Ryan Garcia was going to get murdered and they were going to kill him and all kinds of stuff. So a lot of this stuff gets carried away. I don't understand why we've got the background noise. We've got John Fury over here. We've got Devin Haney's dad. We've got Ryan Garcia's dad.
Yeah, dad's out of control.
It was all nonsense. I mean, Eddie, to be fair to him, handled himself quite well. Didn't back down from it. I would have loved to have seen his knees knock, but it didn't. He was more than robust in his response.
I've actually seen it a few times. I mean, his father turns round.
But the fellow was 2 foot tall. He
was
he made Spencer look like a giant.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being small, mate. But no, I thought Eddie Hearn handled that very, very well. Actually, you see the fight face come on there, and it was actually Garcia's dad that sort of crumbled a little bit, didn't he? If I'm totally honest,
because he realised that Eddie's about 6'7", and he's that fella could limbo under a table in a top hat and Cuban heels.
I thought he was quite tall myself.
What is next for Garcia? I mean, he's saying Isaac Cruz, Sebastian Fundora. I mean, you know about these guys?
Well, yes, Sebastian Fundora's the guy that just beat Tim Zhu. He's the WBC Super Welterweight champion, which tells you that Garcia was struggling to make the weight. He come in 3.5 pounds overweight, so there's a possibility he could move up in weight. He's talking about Isaac Cruz as well, who's a tough little, short, very, very, very tough guy down at his weight. So look, I reckon that Garcia.
147.
147. He'll probably end up there chasing Terrence Crawford, who's going up to. He's looking to go up to super welterweight, isn't he? He's going to looking to become the undisputed free weight world champion. He sees a pathway there, Terrence Crawford. So look, there's opportunities there for him off the back of that performance for sure. Where he goes, I think he's going to take a little break away from boxing and come back and see what opportunities are on the table. So it's an interesting one. Really, where does Devin Haney go from here? You know what? The rebuilding process for Devin Haney is going to be a tough one. That's a tough journey.
Yeah. We talk pre-fight and some of the antics that go on these days, though, Spencer. And before Garcia stepped into the ring with Haney, he was at it somewhat. He was trying to portray himself almost that he was kind of losing the plot. When you listen to this,
we have it pre-recorded months ago. What did I say was going to happen? I said, I'm about to make sure everybody thinks I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Wow, it's just going to be called The Great Escape. Like, I have it all documented. I was already planning it, weeks and weeks and months behind. I don't know what made me come up with the idea, honestly. I just, one day, just decided just to go all in and just commit to a plan that I had, and I was not going to budge for nobody. It didn't matter if I went on his podcast, anybody's podcast. I was acting like sporadic. I had everything but then you make adjustments too. What was real though is at times I did drink a little bit during camp because I like to drink.
So it's all a joke. It's all part of the build-up.
He's the Joaquin Phoenix of boxing, isn't he? He plays a madman and convinces everybody that he is. Look, he's an auteur. He's told a story. The bigger question for Devin Haney was the way that Garcia swallowed it against Tank Davis and wouldn't get off the ground. Well, couldn't get off the floor when he got knocked down. Most guys, I think Spencer's in that camp, the boxing fraternity, and certainly Carl Froch's, is when Garcia got beat by Tank Davis, which is no shame in that, because Tank Davis is it could arguably be pound for pound the best, but he didn't want to get up. And the fighters tell me that he should have been able to get up and should have been able to bite down his gum shield. So that would have been a bigger challenge. I always felt that it was too contrived in terms of this mental meltdown that he was supposedly having. And the power of social media and the influence that it has, because if indeed Devin Haney has bought into the principle that he's fighting a lunatic that's drinking beer on the scales that isn't going to be fit for purpose, then that would have explained the ability to have got himself in a situation in a fight where he fought the fight that completely suited Garcia rather than the fight that suited him.
I thought it was genius. I really did, because he didn't just fool Devin Haney, he fooled the world as well. We all thought that this kid shouldn't be, apart from Simon, Anyway,
I said it weeks ago.
You called it. To be fair, you did call it, and I was thinking you was
drinking.
I thought you was going out your mind calling that as well.
I went out of my mind when I agreed to do shows with you, Spence. That has long since been established.
No, but it takes a clever man to play the fool, and that's exactly what he done. I think it was a genius move. He come in overweight purposely to have that weight advantage. They had 6 fights as an amateurs. They won 3 apiece. They knew each other very well. It was always going to be a tough fight, and that extra weight advantage. It proved to be.
And some could say, the foolishness of Devin Haney was that he bought into the strategy because there isn't an artificial advantage being manifestly created by being 3.5 pounds over the weight class that you're supposed to be in, and then having no check weight on the day of the fight, which means he could have gone even bigger and done precisely what he wanted. So Devin Haney clearly must have just bought into the strategy of, I'm dealing with a chump here that's not all together.
Yeah.
And hasn't got all his faculties together.
My understanding was that Devin Haney and Bill Haney didn't want to raise any concerns about the 3.5 pounds overweight because they didn't want to rock the boat, because obviously they wanted the fight to go ahead.
It's a done deal.
It's a done deal.
It's a done deal.
We've seen it in the past, Simon. Pre-fight antics, they can't make you win a fight, but they can certainly help you win a fight. And this was Steve Collins on that way back as he prepared to fight Chris Eubank Sr.
It's all about timing. A good comedian, a good fighter, and a good penalty taker. It's all about timing. And right until the last minute, they knew something was going on, and then they announced at the night before the fight, the weigh-in, the press conference, oh, by the way, I've been hypnotised. This is my hypnotist. I won't feel pain. I'll have more power. I won't bleed when I cut. I'll have extra energy, the whole lot. And I left the room. And Chris Eubank went, his curiosity, he went, what's going on here? So I left him with the hypnotist. And of course, his curiosity got the better of him because he turned and asked the hypnotist what's going on. Bump, you got a hypnotist talking to you now. That's it, you're in trouble. So the hypnotist told him, yes, I've trained Steve. He says, Steve's going to be faster. You're going to be slower. He says, Steve's going to have more power, he won't feel pain. If he gets cut, he won't bleed. And it went on. And with that, Eubank, that was it. He wanted to go home. So I removed that psychological edge.
The hypnotist in Collins persuaded Eubank when cut, he won't bleed. And Eubank's like, what's going on here? I need to sort this out for myself. These mental antics help.
It's the psychological battle. The fights can be won or lost before you get in the ring. Because if some little bit of doubt creeps in there, it's there's a lot of insanity surrounding boxing, and fighters, when they get into fights and they get into those penultimate rounds, and they've got to start asking themselves questions, because that's exactly what happens. And that's like the physicalities are 20% of a boxing match. The psychological battle is 80% of it. That mental strength of being able to come through these
80% of it?
80%.
Psychological.
Psychological, absolutely, 100%.
Was that the same when you fought? Did
Absolutely,
you get up to all these tricks?
Of course. Listen, you start speaking to yourself in your own head. When you get down to a certain point when you're feeling really, really tired, it's easy then to switch and go really negative. But to get the to get the positive feed off that, you've got to start talking to yourself. If I'm tired, he's got to be tired. If you've left no stone unturned, then there's no reason why you should be any unfitter than your opponent. And all these little things creep in.
Right.
And I think that Garcia paid an absolute blinder there, because he fooled us all.